Well, let's delve further into this alliance with Dr. Lassana Cissokho. He is an associate professor at the Cheikh Anta Diop University. Great to have you on the show with us, Doctor. Now, let's start off with the fact that right now, all that this alliance seemed to be prioritizing is, of course, breaking away from those long-standing colonial era ties. What more does this alliance have to offer in terms of creating a long-term self-sufficient regional entity?
Thank you. First of all, in order to understand the priorities of the alliance, we must first understand the context under which it has been created. Remember, there was some instability due to insecurity in the region brought by some terrorist activities, and the failed management by the governments in those countries of those problems brought some coups, a series of coups in what some people call today the coup belt, which range from Niger to Guinea-Conakry, with Burkina Faso and Mali also being part of it. So the alliance was created in this context after ECOWAS was threatening Niger with military intervention. So in order to see the priorities of the alliance, this context needs first to be understood. So that being said, it becomes clear that the most valuable achievement that the alliance should have first is to bring stability within the region in terms of security and in terms of full control of the land by the countries. In that regard, the alliance has taken some steps, of course, because they have put in place some military and security integration in order to fight terrorism, which still is ongoing. But now, beside the security part, it is important also that the alliance must ensure the move of the members toward a better economic prosperity, better economic integration. And in order to achieve that challenge, there are some decisions that the alliance also must take. For instance, if we look at the countries within the alliance, they are all landlocked countries, all right, with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. They don't have any borders, sea borders. So it is important for them to ensure that they have some infrastructures, and specifically trade-related infrastructure in order to develop their integration. And that being said, the alliance still will need ECOWAS countries, because most of the neighboring countries of the countries in the alliance are ECOWAS countries, and they have ports that the countries of the alliance will need in order to ship their merchandise. Otherwise, they will have to do it in other alternatives that will cost a lot. So let's just retain these two. First of all, they have to bring some stability within the region, and second, they have to ensure that they have all the infrastructures and the agreement with ECOWAS countries with ports in order for them to be able to continue to exchange.
Well, that brings me to my next question, because what do you think will be the political, economic, and also security repercussions for this alliance since they've broken away from ECOWAS now?
Now, politically, ECOWAS is a bigger entity, so more influential. So the countries of the alliance, of course, will lose the influence they used to have under ECOWAS. And given the nature of the political regime, they also will lose a lot of international partners, all right, because those countries are still led by the military, the people who did the military regimes. And in the long term, actually, it is important that there is a change toward more democracy. Otherwise, the threat will not be anymore external, but it's going to be internal also, because under if the regimes attain their limits, reach their limits, which at a certain point they will, if they don't bring democracy. So I think the threat, the instability will be more internal than actually the terrorists that they're facing. Now, in economic terms, there's some negative effect that they have already. Even if we can't attribute all the shock that we see, or the negative impact on growth that we see through the ECOWAS exit, because let us not forget also that we have still the insecurity part, insecurity in the region, and much of the efforts of the governments are turned toward bringing stability, so which actually will hurt production a bit. If we take countries like Mali, GDP dropped from 22 to 2024. GDP dropped from 3.7 to 2.4. Even if we cannot attribute all of it to the exit, I think it is part of it. And we have an inflation also. Let us not forget also that we have an international environment that is characterized by high inflation. But at the same time, being locked from ECOWAS countries will bring some negative effect on the supply side. So which also will bring some more surge in inflation in the country. And of course, the countries will face more budget deficit, since there will be the pressure of military spending is still here. They still have to face the terrorism, and they that will put, of course, a pressure on their budget. And if you take a country like Burkina Faso, the debt GDP ratio has risen up to 55% of GDP recently.
Right,
and
but I guess my next question is, will ECOWAS itself face any repercussions now that we've seen the states breaking away?
Of course, ECOWAS will take there will be some consequences for ECOWAS also. The first one will be the negative shock on their credibility. Let us remember that the military intervention in so which actually in the future could be take away to the stability, to the political stability enforcer ECOWAS used to play in the region. And a decline in ECOWAS also influence in the world, because we have less countries within ECOWAS now. So that also is another negative effect. Now, the custom union will see its market size also shrink. Now, if you take countries like Senegal, I'm in Senegal. So if you take countries like Senegal, more than 50% of Senegal exports are going toward Mali. So now that will have a negative effect, because now, if there is no agreement between Senegal and the alliance, Senegal will have to pay some tariffs in order to be able to sell goods within Mali. So which will actually decrease the amount of product that Senegalese companies will be able to sell in Mali. Right. So that also is another type of decline
that it will face. And of course, this new alliance has also criticized ECOWAS for not protecting the nation's sovereignty, or these countries' sovereignty. Well, Dr. Cissokho, thank you so much. We do have to leave it there. Thank you so much for those great insights. That, of course, is Dr. Lassana Cissokho. He is an associate professor at the Cheikh Anta Diop University.